All right, you're going to want to stick around for this video. We have the top 5 Padres free agent targets heading into 2022. But first, the wrap-up show with John and Jim, presented by Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance. If you are new to this channel, we have exclusive year-round Padres content. So if you're a Padres fan, please subscribe by clicking down below. Hit the notification bell as well. Smash the like button and also follow us on Twitter at John Schaefer, at Jim Russell SD. Top 5 Padres free agent targets. But first, Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance. If you are shopping for auto, home, renters, or life insurance, then you got to consider Mark Nimitz, a San Diegan who is a huge Padres fan. I've been telling you over the last couple of weeks, I switched over my homeowners and my earthquake insurance to Mark. He made it super easy. We did it in just a day or two, and he could save you so much money. He's saving us money. He could save you $440 in 2022 on your insurance needs. So if you have any insurance needs, if you support the wrap-up show, there's a link down below for Mark Nimitz. He can help you and your family with your insurance this year.
All his information is above my head. Phone number and his email address, mnimitz@farmersagent.com. That's mnimitz@farmersagent.com. When you reach out to him, let him know that John and Jim from the wrap-up show sent you.
All right, so the top 5 Padre free agent targets, in our opinion, after the lockout ends, in no particular order. Now, you're not going to be surprised by our first. Again, this isn't the number one target, although in my opinion, it probably is. You might disagree with it. Let's start with Seiya Suzuki, who, when the lockout ends, will have a 21-day period of time to sign with the team. That team will negotiate with his team overseas. There'll be a posting fee, but he will play in the big leagues. He has stated he plans to play in the big leagues in 2022. So Seiya Suzuki, the all-star caliber outfielder who's in the prime of his career, who's had massive seasons over in Japan, has to be one of the top free agent targets for the Padres because it's a position of need, Jim, heading into 2022.
It is a position of need. I think it fits their budget. It fits what they're looking for. The one thing is, can you really expect him to contribute right away? I think he's a guy who, with this lockout, it kind of screwed him a little bit, actually a lot of it, because one, everything's going to be fast-paced for him once this lockout ends. Whatever happens, like you said, he has 21 days to sign. He will sign with the team, and if he signs with the Padres, it's going to go by very quickly. I don't know if he'd be ready in time. Maybe he would. Maybe it's like, hey, plug and play. Here you go, right away. He contributes from the jump. But I personally think he'll need a little bit more time. He's going to be on the big league roster, but he might need a little more time to acclimate himself to the big leagues. And maybe it's a situation where we don't really start seeing him truly contributing for at least like a month and a half. That's just what I think, unless you think he can contribute like from day one.
No, you made a really good point. The truth is, he could be the most brilliant baseball player in the big leagues the next 5 years, but the truth is, to come from Japan in March, sign in mid-March, and if the season actually starts March 31st, what are we really asking of Seiya Suzuki?
3 weeks, dude.
Right. Is it realistic to say that, hey, he's going to have the best April in baseball? Who knows? You're right. There could be. Because of that exact example you gave, there could absolutely be a learning curve. I don't expect it to be a full year or a 2-year process with Seiya Suzuki. I think he contributes for the team he signs with this year, and I'm with you. I think it could take a period of time, but you're asking a lot. Language barrier, league barrier, new team, new teammates, even if there wasn't a language barrier or league barrier. Like, all of these things are going to be new for Seiya Suzuki. But again, it's like the upside. It's like there are some other targets out there that play outfield that you could get via trade or via free agency that will cost you more, either in assets or dollars, than Seiya Suzuki. And if someone tells me $10 million a year, $12 million a year, even a little more than that, and it's a 5-year deal and the player's in his prime, I'm intrigued to at least pursue it. And I know a number of other teams obviously will, and that's the challenging part. I don't think it's about the Padres' desires. It's about Seiya's desires just as much. And while the Padres might be a finalist,
nachos.
It's far from a guarantee. Yeah, the nachos, right? He says he likes nachos.
Nachos.
All right, we're going to get back to the video in a moment. We want to welcome our newest sponsor to the wrap-up show, Aura, a natural supplement and plant-based nutrition company with a co-founder, Will, that is a huge Padres fan and a San Diegan, and they've got an unbelievable offer for our viewers today. It's 30% off your first order using promo code WRAPUP at the link down below, which is ora.organic. That is Aura. Organic. I've been taking this probiotic every single day for the last couple of months. It's just been unbelievable. It's plant-based, great for my digestion. It's so good for your heart health, your overall well-being in general. And they've got so much more, Jim, than just probiotics, whether it's proteins, fish oils. And I know you've been taking the protein every single time you've been working out here recently.
Yeah, I take the protein powder. I also take the pre-workout powder here, the raspberry lemonade flavor, jitter-free. When you are finished with your workout, you will not have a crash afterwards. It tastes delicious. It's my favorite tasting pre-workout that I've ever had, to be honest with you. I'm not just saying that. That's the truth. And if you go to their website right now, www.aura.organic, 30% off your first order using our promo code WRAPUP. You can get everything there, like John said, fish oil pills, protein powders, greens, pre-workouts, everything you need to live a healthy lifestyle. Aura has it. Again, www.aura.organic. Use our promo code WRAPUP. You get 30% off your first order. You'll thank us later. Now back to the video.
Nachos. All right, let's get to our second free agent possibility in terms of top 5 free agent possibilities for the Padres once this lockout ends. Nelson Cruz. There will be a universal DH. The Padres will have a need for a DH, along with a number of National League teams, probably most of them. That could drive his price tag up a little bit, but there was interest last year, Jim. There's got to be interest right now, right?
He would be, I think, a perfect fit for this team. Plug and play right away, DH. He's a guy that gets out of bed and can hit 30 home runs a year, even at his age still. Even if not 30, you get 25 to 30 home runs. Like, they need that desperately in this lineup because they don't have anybody that they can truly count on besides Tatis and Machado that you know for a fact are going to get you 30 plus home runs. Myers is capable, but it just, for whatever reason, he can't stay healthy. He goes into these cold spells. It just, for whatever reason, he can't, stay consistent. Hosmer, yeah, right. Cronenworth, yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
He has, he could do it. Grisham, no. That's all they got. Like,
Profar, no.
Profar,
Kim,
no.
Catching position, no.
Alfaro, Nola, no.
Yep.
Caratini, no. That's what they got right now. So when you really run down their roster and you're like, all right, who's the power bats in it? You have two. That's it. And
you're saying Machado, Tatis, and then Cronenworth is like an X factor guy, really good hitter, but is he
more
power hitter? Right,
way more power.
Yeah,
and if he's a guy that you can get for a 1-year deal for like $13 million, put at the DH, great clubhouse guy, great leader. Well, I just don't like, if they don't sign Nelson Cruz, I will be very, very disappointed because he is one of my top targets. For the Padres this offseason is like, okay, sign Nelson Cruz, you fill a need, plug and play, let's go.
He's the number one most realistic target. I'm with you. I'd be surprised now. I'm not saying it's a guaranteed shoe-in 99%, but I think it's more likely than not that Nelson Cruz is a Padre in 2022. And I think it's a huge addition also in the clubhouse because they talked about that in 2021. It would be a clubhouse addition. So I think that could be beneficial for the Padres. All right, let's get to a third target for the Padres. This might be more unrealistic, although we did hear the Padres attached to him right before the lockout. Nick Castellanos, who's going to command serious money. He's probably deserving of it. He's put together some unbelievable offensive seasons in the National League in Cincinnati. He's still in the prime of his career. Now, what's it going to cost? We've talked about this a lot. It's going to be 100 plus, could push $200 million. Padres might have to move a player to sign a player like Nick Castellanos, but I wouldn't be shocked if AJ Preller at least had the conversations with Castellanos about interest in years and dollars.
Like, if money wasn't a factor, would you say, yeah, Nick Castellanos would be the guy to put on this team right now? Plug and play, left field.
Yeah, I mean, if money wasn't an option, he'd probably be the safest bet, more so than Seiya, more so than some of these other outfielders we might discuss as well. So, yeah, I think the safest bet, the guy that's going to produce in 2022 or a high likelihood of producing is probably Castellanos.
Because with Castellanos, he's still the same, around the same age as Chris Bryant. I feel like, yes, Chris Bryant may bring more, and we'll talk about him in a bit, but Castellanos is a guy that I think translates better to Petco Park Like he would do better there than Chris Bryant would do at Petco Park. And I just think his bat plays better with this team. You put him in like the 5-hole, for clean up. It would, imagine the top lineup. You got Tatis, Cronenworth, Machado, Castellanos, Cruz.
Yeah, that's pretty. I mean, that's completely retransformed. I mean, Castellanos and Cruz to the lineup that they had last year, which was an average lineup. I mean, think about that improvement. That'd be so significant.
Yeah, and then you can move everybody down. You can have Will Myers go down to 6th. You could, put Alfaro or Nola 8th. Whoever else in left field, or not left field, but who else? Center field, Grisham could be 7th. Like, that's a pretty deep lineup right there.
It really is. All right, let's get to free agent target number 4 for the Padres. You mentioned him actually a moment ago, Chris Bryant, who might offer a little more than Castellanos because of his versatility. So he may offer more. He might lack a little bit in OPS numbers in terms of what Castellanos can provide, but he's an OPS producer as well, but he gives you versatility as well. I think the dollars could be comparable, to be honest with you, between Castellanos and Bryant. Maybe Castellanos gets more. But again, are you going to need to move a player to even have the conversation with Chris Bryant about bringing him here long term?
I think you would. He's a Boris guy. He's going to cost a lot of money. He has all the accolades to back everything up. Like, you're not signing him for cheap. This is I think, $200+ million player. Well, I don't think he's a $200 million plus player, but I think he's going to demand that type of money. And I think if we're looking at what players AJ Preller likes the most, it's players with versatility. And so who has the most versatility on this list? It's Chris Bryant. He can play left field. He can play third base. He can play, center field. He can play right field. Hell, he can play second base. He can play first base. He plays everywhere on the diamond. He plays it all. That's what Preller loves the most. I think if this were a couple years ago, I would say Bryant would be my absolute home run, no doubt about it, number 1 player. But I felt like he lost a little something the last couple years. I don't feel like he's the same player. I feel like he's lost some pop, and that's what this team needs. It needs home runs. You can't I think he hit like 20 something home runs last year. If he only gives you 23 home runs or 24 home runs, it's not good enough. You need a guy giving you 30 plus. His OPS wasn't great. I would like him on this team, but not for the money he's going to want.
Yeah, and the years, to your point. I mean, if he's a half step slower or not the same player he was 2 or 3 years ago, why would you give him 5 or 6 years? I mean, nobody wants year 4, year 5, year 6 of a deal like that. I mean, people have been complaining. We've been complaining about Eric Hosmer's deal. I mean, 8 years is a ridiculous length for a player of his caliber. Even 4 years ago, the Will Myers deal is probably still too long, even though it's up here in 2022. You're not going to want to give 6, 7 years to Chris Bryant. And then the 5th name is another outfielder that's going to command serious dollars. We haven't talked about him as much on the wrap-up show, for being honest. We have mentioned him before, and that's Michael Conforto, who had an okay year. It really was. It was probably below average year by his expectations in 2021. And he wasn't fully healthy, and he didn't hit for power, and he had 14 home runs. But he's hit 30-plus home runs in the big leagues before, and he's done it in good pitching yards. So he hasn't done it with the advantage of being a great hitter yards previously.
New York is it's hard to hit.
It's not a bandbox, right? It's the opposite of it.
Right.
So, I think he's a guy that could give you 30 home runs. I think he's going to get a lot of money in free agency, even though he's coming off a very average year. I don't know if he gets Castellanos or Bryant money, but I think it's a lot of money. But again, this is the position of need. When you think about the players we've talked about, 4 outfielders and Nelson Cruz, this is the position of need. I don't think there's any way they go into the season with the repertoire they have right now without bringing in someone else. Obviously, I mean, they have to have an additional outfielder. So knowing that, you could trade for someone, but in terms of free agent targets, you have to consider these 5, including Conforto coming off this very average year.
And the thing with Conforto is, I believe he had the same injury as Tatis. He subluxed his shoulder, and then he actually did get the surgery, and that was a couple years ago. I want to say that's what happened to him, because he got injured. I think he was an all-star, or at least close to an all-star. And then he got injured, and ever since then, it's been kind of up and down. I would take a flyer on Conforto, absolutely. Again, that's the money, and I just wouldn't pay him the money he's probably asking. He's another Scott Boras client.
Yep.
We heard when Scott Boras was like doing soliloquies and poems about all these players that are free agents at not the winter meetings, but the GM meetings.
Right.
He like mentioned Conforto. I don't even know what he said about him, but it was like, okay, he's a Scott Boras client. He's going to be wanting a lot of money, and I don't know if I would give him a lot of money.
Yeah, I'm with you. And you made a really good point. You're like, yeah, I'd take a flyer on him. The problem is he's Scott Boras's
There's
client,
no flyers with Scott
and he's
Boras.
20.
Yeah.
He's 28. He turns 29 in a few days, but 29.
Right.
You're talking at least 5 years for a 29-year-old. That's Scott Boras' client. I mean, that's the ask.
Yeah.
And you're talking 20 million plus a year. So another $100 million deal to sign someone like Conforto. You're right. 2017 shoulder surgery, 2017 All-Star. He's had good moments since then. He's had bad moments since then. It has not been some, smooth ride since his lone All-Star season in 2017. And he's had some health issues as well. All right. Who are your Padres free agent targets? Who did we miss? We gave you 5 here today, 4 outfielders and Nelson Cruz, the DH. Who do we miss? You can comment down below. Also, this reminder, please subscribe to the wrap-up show right here on YouTube. We have exclusive year-round Padres content for you. Hit that subscribe button down below. Hit the notification bell. Smash the like button and follow us on Twitter at John Schaefer, at Jim Russell SD. Please support our partners as well. Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance. Also, our friends at Aura. Use promo code WRAPUP at the link down below. You will get 30% off your first order. And when you purchase Padres tickets in 2022, do so through StubHub. There's a link down below, a 100% fan protect guarantee. Purchase your Padres tickets through us in 2022. Until next time, for Jim, I'm John. This has been the Wrap-Up Show presented by Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance.